Most folks are about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Human action can be modified to some extent, but human nature cannot be changed. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. There are no bad pictures. That's just how your face looks sometimes. You can tell the greatness of a man by what makes him angry. Common-looking people are the best in the world. That is the reason the Lord makes so many of them. Love is the chain to lock a child to its parent. A farce or comedy is best played. A tragedy is best read at home. He has a right to criticize, who has a heart to help. The ability to describe others as they see themselves. For people who like that kind of a book, that is the kind of book they will like. Upon the subject of education, not presuming to dictate any plan or system respecting it, I can only say that I view it as the most important subject which we as a people can be engaged in. I am rather inclined to silence, and whether that be wise or not, it is at least more unusual nowadays to find a man who can hold his tongue than to find one who cannot. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. Adhere to your purpose, and you will soon feel as well as you ever did. On the contrary, if you falter and give up, you will lose the power of keeping any resolution and will regret it all your life. And in the end, it is not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt. I happen temporarily to occupy this big white house. I am living witness that any one of your children may look to come here as my father's child has. I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. My own wisdom, and that of all about me, seemed insufficient for that day. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. Human nature will not change. In any future great national trial, compared with the men of this, we shall have as weak and as strong, as silly and as wise, as bad and as good. The greatest fine art of the future will be the making of a comfortable living from a small piece of land. Let every American, every lover of liberty, every well-wisher to his posterity, swear by the blood of the Revolution never to violate in the least particular the laws of the country and never to tolerate their violation by others. What is to be, will be, and no prayers can arrest the decree. The best way to predict your future is to create it. I know not how to aid you, save in the assurance of one of mature age and much severe experience, that you cannot fail if you resolutely determine that you will not. I have not permitted myself, gentlemen, to conclude that I am the best man in the country, but I am reminded in this connection of a story of an old Dutch farmer who remarked to a companion once that it was not best to swap horses while crossing streams. I have stepped out upon this platform that I may see you, and that you may see me, and in the arrangement, I have the best of the bargain. This is a world of compensations, and he who would be no slave must consent to have no slave. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under a just God cannot long retain it. The demon of intemperance ever seems to have delighted in sucking the blood of genius and of generosity. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free honorable alike in what we give and what we preserve. We shall nobly save or meanly lose the last best hope of earth. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. You think slavery is right and should be extended, while we think slavery is wrong and ought to be restricted. That, I suppose, is the rub. It certainly is the only substantial difference between us. The one victory we can ever call complete will be that one which proclaims that there is not one slave or one drunkard on the face of God's green earth. It may seem strange that any men should dare to ask a just God's assistance in wringing their bread from the sweat of other men's faces, but let us judge not, that we be not judged. Prayers of both could not be answered. That of neither has been answered fully. The Almighty has His own purposes. I leave you, hoping that the lamp of liberty will burn in your bosoms, until there shall no longer be a doubt that all men are created free and equal. The will of God prevails. In great contests, each party claims to act in accordance with the will of God. Both may be, and one must be, wrong. God cannot be for and against the same thing at the same time. In the present civil war, it is quite possible that God's purpose is something different from the purpose of either party, and yet the human instrumentalities, working just as they do, adaptationed to effect His purpose. Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith, let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. Labor is prior to, and independent of. Capital is only the fruit of labor, and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Labor is the superior of capital, and deserves much the higher consideration. In regard to this great book, I have but to say, it is the best gift God has given to man. All the good the Savior gave to the world was communicated through this book. I care not for a man's religion, whose dog and cat are not the better for it. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic chords of memory stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union, when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. If we have no friends, we have no pleasure, and if we have them, we are sure to lose them and be doubly pained by the loss. My father taught me to work, but not to love it. I never did like to work, and I don't deny it. I'd rather read, tell stories, crack jokes, talk, laugh, anything but work. No man is poor who has a godly mother. When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion. All I ask for the Negro is that if you do not like him, let him alone. If God gave him but little, that little let him enjoy. I claim not to have controlled events, but confess plainly that events have controlled me. Property is the fruit of labor. Property is desirable, is a positive good in the world. That some should be rich shows that others may become rich, and hence is just encouragement to industry and enterprise. Let not him who is houseless pull down the house of another, but let him labor diligently and build one for himself, thus by example assuring that his own shall be safe from violence when built. I can make a general in 5 minutes, but a good horse is hard to replace. Leave nothing for tomorrow, which can be done today. If I am killed, I can die but once, but to live in constant dread of it is to die over and over again. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. I would rather be a little nobody than to be an evil somebody. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to success is more important than any other thing. I have a congenital aversion to failure. No man is good enough to govern another man without that other's consent. I say, this is the leading principle, the sheet anchor of American republicanism. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me, and I didn't have the heart to let him down. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve, and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. Surely God would not have created such a being as man, with an ability to grasp the infinite, to exist only for a day. No, no, man was made for immortality. Every man's happiness is his own responsibility. I have never studied the art of paying compliments to women, But I must say that if all that has been said by orators and poets since the creation of the world in praise of women were applied to the women of America, it would not do them justice for their conduct during this war. I will close by saying, God bless the women of America.